Some Muslims spent Ramadan connecting with God, while other Muslims spent Ramadan attacking other Muslims. People keep coming at me all the time like, respond to Alidawa, respond to Alidawa. And it really wasn't on my priority list. It was Ramadan. That was not the time for all the bickering, especially with somebody like that. Like, that's really not on my priority list. And to be fair, the dude's under extreme scrutiny nonstop, even without me adding into it. So I want everybody to keep in mind, whenever I go through this video and speak my point, my perspective, don't go attacking him. Please don't go in attacking him. The way I see it is, if somebody has the Quran or connection with God as their backbone, we're all inside one family. Regardless if it's a Christian or a Muslim, it doesn't matter to me. If you have a connection with God, we're all inside the same family. Now, of course, there's some people who claim to be by the book that are misguided, misdirected, and completely following the work of the devil. But at the same time, it's important to recognize our brothers and sisters, and sometimes family gets after each other. Sometimes family doesn't agree. So I want everybody to kind of, or at least hopefully, hold that perspective throughout this video. And if he responds, or all the videos he makes in the future about anybody else, we need to keep in mind that we're still part of all the same team. And whenever we start fighting with each other, we all lose. But yeah, bro spending all of Ramadan attacking Muslims is crazy behavior. Like, that's pretty wild. That's pretty insane to take Ramadan and use it for backbiting and attacking other Muslims. Out of everything, that's my biggest problem with this situation. It's not what he said about me. That's fine. You can say whatever you want about me. I don't care. I'm pretty solid in my beliefs. I may seem like a dumb revert, but I do a lot of research, and I am working with 2 scholars. It just was never relevant for me to bring it up ever in the past. I have a video set up with them in the future, and they'll come on and explain everything in further detail. They'll be able to recite the Arabic and really explain all the things I've been talking about. But for me, it wasn't really important. Like, if somebody doesn't believe me, that's okay. Please don't. I've always said throughout this whole time on social media, don't trust a single word I ever say. Don't trust a single word anybody ever says at all. Go fact check me, fact check every single person. Never take anybody's word for it. I don't care if it's a scholar or the leader of Saudi Arabia, which is paying these scholars. That's a different conversation that I will go in deep detail with in the future. Right now is not the time. But the point is, I don't care who it is. You should always be fact-checking everybody, me included, and I've always said that. I come up here and I share my beliefs and my experiences. And then people come up here and they talk about my beliefs and my experiences. And they try to paint me in this picture like I'm trying to change Islam. Like, bro, I'm not trying to convince anybody of literally anything. I'm just sharing my own experience. I don't care what anybody believes. Like, you could pray to Santa Claus. We could still be friends. I don't care. The way you pray and who you pray to doesn't affect me. And as long as you're a good person, that's all that matters. And that's also what the Quran says, is people of the book, people who believe in God, will go to heaven based on their good deeds. But first of all, I want to address this ex-Satanist thing. And I understand not everybody is aware of the occult and pagan beliefs, or even the ex-Satanist or what a Satanist is. But somebody like Alidawa that's in the public eye that doesn't know what a Satanist is the scariest part about this whole situation. I want people to understand, Satanists don't believe in Satan. And before you guys freak out, there is 2 types of Satanism. There's TST, which is the Satanic Temple, and then there's the Church of Satan, which is LaVeyan Satanism. Anton LaVey made it all about himself. It's nothing. It's like a pseudo-religion. But Satanists that are actively worshiping at the Satanic Temple, which is the largest form of Satanism, actually don't believe in Satan. What they do is they're like atheists with a set of rules and morals. They're not the worst people in the world, misguided, sure, but they're not actually doing rituals or any pagan beliefs. I promise you guys can look into it yourself. I think it's called the 7 Tenets. It goes over everything. Like, I mean, you don't really need to look into it. It doesn't really matter, but Satanists don't actually believe in the devil. They never worship the devil. They're atheists. They don't believe in God at all. I was never that. And even whenever I was doing these occult practices, I've always clarified, even on TikTok, which I was on for years and years before reverting, and had a large following before becoming a Muslim. This is crazy. It's weird to think that exists, but I've clarified throughout the whole time. There's videos still posted. You can go through them. I mean, it might take a while, but there's plenty of videos where I've clarified and told people, like, I don't worship the devil. I don't worship evil. In the occult, there's this issue, and the community is very divided. There's one set of people who are doing it for power and control. The other set of people are doing it for knowledge. Now, the first set of people that are doing it for power and control, often involved in a lot of curses, what their perspective is they're saying, hey, I'm going to pray to a demon, therefore I can be evil because I'm praying to evil. The other side of it doesn't see it that way. It isn't like we're worshiping evil, so therefore we can be bad. It's more along the lines of polytheism, which is the term I used mostly. It's no different than like the Greeks and the Vikings. Although wrong, it's not with the intention of being bad and the intention of being evil. I did one curse in my entire life. This is partially my fault because I fell into it and fell into generalization, and I used the term black magic even when referring to myself. But there's a big difference. Like, worshiping the devil is not the same as like the Greeks following like Apollo or something. Although jinn and although wrong, they're not going into it with the thought that they're allowed to be evil and bad and do these bad things to people. No, I'm not defending it, nor am I advocating for it. I'm actually hope you guys take it the opposite direction. But the reason why I'm explaining this is because you have to know who the real enemy is. The real enemy isn't people who call themselves Satanists that are actually atheists. The real enemy is the people who truly believe that they're worshiping God, and God gave them the ability to harm others based on their beliefs and take anything from others based off of their beliefs. You guys know who I'm talking about, but there's also a group of Muslims that believe the exact same thing. Once again, I'm going to go into that in the later detail. There's some serious issues with the Hadith in Saudi Arabia where I don't trust them. And so let me explain this a little bit more. I never fully rejected the Hadith. Yes, the title of the video said why I will never follow Hadith. So you could take that as a generalization if you want. But in the video, I said myself, of course, not all Hadith are wrong. Of course, there's some good ones. On Instagram, the same thing. I've always been sure to clarify that I'm not rejecting all Hadith ever. That's crazy to think that there's no good ones. Even people who are Quranist, which I'll go into in a second, can recognize and admit that, like, yeah, sure, there's a couple Hadith that aligns with the Quran. It all makes sense. It's fine. So sitting here saying like every Hadith ever is bad isn't the point. And I've never said that. People just got overly emotional and freaked out and didn't hear what I was saying. And I get it, it's the internet. People are going to be very dramatic all the time. I mean, it's partially a requirement of the job. But people need to start actually listening to what people are saying before they disagree with them, because it makes them look silly. And I will say, like, I'm not going to sit here and just attack Alidawa, but it made him look really silly. Talking about my hair and my clothes and stuff, like, it's all black. Well, he has black hair and black clothes and black laptop on his lap. It's like really weird. It just makes them look silly because they don't listen. Now, I also want to add something, and hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying on this. I don't think Alidawa was the problem. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I will even sit here and defend him. I don't think Alidawa was the problem. You look at his old videos, and he's a very righteous dude. He was solid. He didn't act this way. He didn't act out of arrogance and pride. The problem is somebody in his corner, and I think you guys all know who I'm talking about. There's somebody in his corner that has inflated the ego and pushed this Salafi, Wahhabi, extremist thing into his head. And that same person just looks like a fool right now for saying what he said to Sneeko. So I hope you guys don't fully blame Alidawa for this. And I hope everybody prays for him and gets him out of this pride and this arrogance and this ego. Because I know this isn't his natural state, because we can see his older videos and see he didn't act this way. Like, Alidawa's a good dude at heart. I know it. There's no way that was fake at the beginning. He had nothing to prove and nothing to lose. But now at this point, like, the views are slipping, and he has this person in his corner that's supposedly somebody of knowledge, pushing all these ideas into his head and saying, oh, do this, Habibi, do this, and pushing him to put on this persona that's just not him. It conflicts with his self-identity. So don't hold too much criticism against Alidawa. I know he got attacked really hard for what he said about me and what he's been saying about others, but I do kind of want people to back off a little bit, because he's not at fault. I do think he's just misguided. Now, that being said, please forgive me, but I am so not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. What I said is what I believe with the Hadith. And my beliefs and my faith is not up for debate. It's not up for question. I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth on what I believe or not. I'm not going to sit here and try to defend myself. We live in a pretty cool time, like a pretty beautiful time, where somebody can come in the public eye and say, hey, I believe this. And somebody else can pop up and say, hey, but I believe this. And then people can watch these two perspectives and make their own decision. It's up to them. It's up for the viewers. It's not up for me. It's not up for Alidawa. It's not up for Muhammad Hijab. It's not up for anybody. We just come up here and say, this is what I believe. It's not for us to decide what you guys need to believe. My biggest concern above all this, too, like whenever it comes to the conversation of the Hadith, I'll make more videos going into more detail for everybody, because it is kind of a serious topic to people. I didn't realize people cared that much. But my biggest issue is in the Quran, God promised to preserve the Quran and protect the Quran, but he never promised to protect the Hadith. And from what I've found based on the scholars that are teaching me and the history that I found based around Saudi Arabia and the fall of the Ottoman Empire, the Hadith that we used to have is not the same Hadith we have today. The initial Hadith was probably good, although the first 4 caliphs spoke out against it and warned us that this was going to happen. Like, they told us that, hey, I'm not going to write Hadith. I mean, one of them even got 500 Hadith together. It's argued between 500, 700 Hadith. Got them together and lit them on fire. Like, this wasn't just a thing that people were for. And the companions of the Prophet told us that they were going to be corrupted. And from what I've seen, based on history, and based off of the scholars that are teaching me, one of them is the director of the school, that the good Hadith have been corrupted, that there is some mixed in here that is wrong, that is pushing people towards pride and arrogance, driving a massive wedge in the community. And I'm not sorry about that. This is what I believe. So if you don't like it, that's fine. You're entitled to your own opinion. I don't care. But I'm not going to get bullied into submission. And this is the worst part about this. The only reason why these people are able to get away with this, like the Haram police, the Wahhabis, Salafis, is because they just bully people into submission. Now, the thing is that's never going to work. You sitting there attacking Muslims, your Muslim brothers and sisters, will never get you anywhere, because what's going to happen is you're going to bully them into submission and they'll just put on a mask for you. They're not telling you the truth. They're not actually listening to what you're saying. They don't actually believe you're saying. They're just going to do fake support, like fence sitter crap. And eventually these people always get a voice, and that's what we're seeing right now. Now, these people are terrified of the truth. They're so scared of the truth coming out because they know this is true. Deep down, they understand. They're bullying people into submission just to follow their beliefs. And what's going to happen is eventually the mask's going to get popped off their face, and then they're going to tell you what's good. I was just fortunate enough to be a revert where I never had an opportunity to put on a mask. I just showed up and said, hey, no, this is what I see to be true, and I'm not falling for it. Like, you're not going to piss on my head and call it rain. I mean, that's what's happening. It's like a bunch of people who claim to be Muslims are all in line, and one person is pissing on the back of everybody's head, and then the first person getting peed on says, what's that? And then the guy peeing said, it's rain, just ignore it. And then he turns and tells the next guy in line, like, you're just getting rained on. And then everybody just goes along with it. And this is because they try to act like everybody's stupid. They try to tell you, like, you're too dumb. Like, you can't research on your own. You can't understand anything. You're too dumb. Only listen to the people we're paying. They're the only ones who can tell you what's right and wrong. They're the only ones who can read Arabic. They're the only ones who can completely understand the Quran, which completely contradicts the Quran. Is pretty simple, and it is fully explained. It states this within itself. The Word of God talks about this. If you think otherwise, you're going against the Quran. Now, I want to address this kafir thing because it is so insane. Like, nobody cares about getting called a kafir. Like, you guys have ran that word out so much that it doesn't have any value or any weight. Like, the second you disagree with somebody, you're just throwing that word out. Like, it's going out of style. Like, you just say whatever you want to anybody, and they're just like, sorry, you called me a kafir, now I'm going to listen to you. No, dude, it's the polar opposite. You throw that word around like it means something, and you're the one who made it meaningless. I mean, Sneeko just got kafir shouted in his face because he had a question about a hadith that talked about racial supremacy. And he said it out of kindness and out of genuine interest in wanting to know the truth. And instead, he gets disrespected to his face, and everybody around him just laughed at him at the same time. Like, that's not Islam. That's not what the Quran teaches. And that dude that is supposedly of the book is a fool. He's an arrogant, prideful idiot that is just riding his wave of admiration, of false admiration through force. He's bullying people to make them praise him up. He's a snake. He weaseled his way into the Dawa scene, and he got praised because of it. He ain't doing nothing for the scene. He ain't helping nobody. All he's doing is running up his own ego. And I get it. I'm a tatted up white boy revert that just doesn't know anything, that can't speak a lick of Arabic. I mean, if you believe that, you know, I study a lot more than you guys realize. But I don't care being the community's punching bag. I have no issue with it. Like, if people want to throw punches, at least throw them at me versus somebody else. because I genuinely don't care. And the reason why I don't care is because I know I'm new. It's like, okay, freak out about me. Like, why are you worrying about me, bro? You have over 1 million subscribers. I'm over sitting here at like 50K and you're throwing a temper tantrum about something I said. My voice doesn't go very far. So as baffling as that is, it doesn't really matter. But jokes aside, really, I don't mind it. And I would actually prefer people to attack me versus other people in the community. And this is because I genuinely just don't give a fuck. I don't care what people think of me. Like, I'm on my own path. I know that. I know my path is weird. I know it's uncommon. I know the conclusions I come to are not going to be popular opinions. Like, I'm not going to sit here and grift Sunnis for followers online. Like, I don't care. Like, I had a massive following in the occult of all things, you know? So I'm not really worried about it. Like, I know communities can be built out of literally anything. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because I don't want you guys to engage in it. Like, please don't, like, attack these people, you know, just chill. Like, I appreciate everybody for standing up for me. I really do. Like, it means a lot. I've never had that before. So it's interesting. I don't really know how to take it. But at the same time, there's no need for it. Like, I was raised by bikers. I was raised in a gang. I've been shot whenever I was younger. Like, I've been through the mud. I don't bring up my past too much because I think it's like goofy when people like are sitting here like, oh, I went through so much pain. It's like, dude, no. But the point is, like, it doesn't affect me. Like, I've been through so much worse than that. Like, I used to get jumped on my way to school 3 days a week. So, like, what people say online, it doesn't bother me. So don't engage in the arguments. Like, it's just going to bring down your guys' energy, bring down your guys' mood. That's what they want. They want you to argue with them and fight with them and this and that. So, although I do appreciate the gesture, I really do. It means a lot to me, but I'm telling you guys it's not necessary. Don't ruin your guys' own mood because somebody wants to talk shit about me. Let them run their mouth. And really, at the end of the day, it just, like, is more publicity anyways. Now, the last thing people like to throw at me is like, he just talks about jinn. And I haven't really fully explained this too much in detail, but there's a couple reasons why jinn is the primary topic. One is I understand it very well. I've seen them face to face. I understand it. I know what to do and what not to do. I know what attracts them. I know the things that they really enjoy and they really want. And I know the things that they hate and the things they despise. And there's plenty of really good people who can teach you about the Quran and even teach you about the good Hadith. One of them I will say is Muhammad from God. I have to give a big shout out to my brother because he went on and debated Alidawa in this moment. Alidawa clipped the debate whenever he posted it and cut out parts where he got debunked entirely. But I do got to show some love for Muhammad from God because that dude really knows what he's talking about. If you guys want to understand, like, how do people pray without the Hadith, he has a video, a really good detailed video speaking about it. Go check that out on your free time whenever you want. But the point is there's plenty of other good content creators. Actually, now while I'm doing this, I want to show love to the Warner too. Dude is an amazing human, right? So whenever I came out about, like, not liking the Hadith, it was on Instagram and I was, like, way more disrespectful. There was an extremist group that was recruiting in the comments and I posted on my story ahead of time, told everybody, like, hey, if people start freaking out, please don't engage. Like, I'm doing this intentionally to really bother these people. And told everybody, like, warned everybody ahead of time, I'm going to be extremely disrespectful. And whenever I posted that, I don't know if he saw that story post or not, but he definitely saw the Instagram video that I posted and he was in the comment section, like, defending Hadith, of course. And instead of attacking me, which we had smoked previously, like, in the DMs, instead of attacking me and getting angry with me, he really did try to reach out, try to call me and try to answer questions. Like, I really do think the Warner is one of the best examples we have in the Islamic community. Like, by far. I mean, just in the world in general. Like, the dude's just a genuine, really nice guy. So I got to give bro his flowers. Like, he really did try to do the right, correct Islamic thing. But I got off topic. Like, the reason why I talk about jinn, it's not only because I understand it, but it really aligns with personal development. So what I've been doing this entire time is I study through the Quran and look through the things that attract jinn and cause negative things. And then what I do is go through the Library of Medicine, a free public archive that has tons and tons of articles, like research articles and studies. And I go through this Library of Medicine and I find ones that correlate with the teachings of the Quran. And so what I do is try to present it in a way that even if somebody is a non-believer and they think the jinn is completely hypothetical, not real, they can still get benefit out of it. So the goal is to try to provide as much personal development value as possible. And I use the jinn as a vehicle to present that. I don't get to decide what people want to watch. I only get to decide what I talk about. And so if I want to make content that people want to watch and will click on, I have to use the thing that people want to watch. And of course, the two biggest things in the Islamic community is the jinn and marriage. And so I can use that as a way to teach the Quran and teach personal development. So the reason why I talk about the jinn so much is like, one, yeah, I have an interest in it. Like at the end of the day, I'm just a paranormal investigator that was blessed by the Quran, but it just gives me a really good opportunity to provide as much value as possible to people and still bring it in a way where people will click on it and watch it. So like the jinn thing, it isn't for any other reason besides it works. Like it's a vehicle that works, it benefits people, it helps everyone, and it's something I enjoy at the same time. So it's a win-win for everybody. But whenever I'm off camera, it's not like I just sit here and think about demons all day. Like even whenever I was doing like pagan practices, I wasn't like that. I didn't just like sit in my bedroom and summon demons all day like people think. Like I have a real life outside of this. Like I do have responsibilities and things to do, and a 10-year-old son. Like my life doesn't just revolve around demons, and neither should yours. But that's all I really have to say. But at the same time, I'm going to be very fair and very blunt and upfront about this is the last time I'm going to be nice. If he tries this shit again, I'm going to swing for the fences. And what I'm going to say, he will not be very happy about. There's some pretty deep stuff that I will surface up and really make him look silly. So although I will be gracious and have empathy and understanding in this moment, if it continues to happen, I'm not going to just allow it at the same time. Like I still have boundaries at the same point. So I'm going to be nice this once. But if he wants to continue to run his mouth and just attack Muslims for no reason, for clicks and views, he's going to end up getting backhanded so hard that he's not going to want to be on the internet very long.